Hello everyone, this video goes through the story of Sherlock Holmes, the Devil's Daughter. Sherlock and Watson are visited by their neighbor Mr. Bouvier, who leads in a little boy Tom, whose father has gone missing for 3 weeks, and Tom asks for Sherlock's home to find him. Sherlock pays a visit to the boy's home, and through a notice in the jacket, he found that Tom's father was offered a special job at Old Tabard Pub. Then he goes there and notices a suspicious man whom he asks young Wiggins to follow after the man leaves the bar. Young Wiggins follows the man to Lord Marsh's house, where Sherlock plans to pay a visit. Before he goes, Caitlin, his daughter, gets in because his school lesson is cancelled due to the flood. Sherlock puts her in Watson's room and then leaves. Upon arriving at Lord Marsh's house, Watson suggests Sherlock to tell Caitlin about her real father, whose death was caused by him, but Sherlock firmly refuses. Lord Marsh seems seriously ill, and Sherlock finds out that he's financing a special education program for people from lower class, and when Sherlock goes back to Tom's house, asking about this, he finds a hidden cellar where Tom's father stores his collected newspaper clips about the special education program, and some participant in it has gone missing. So Sherlock decides to sneak into Lord Marsh's house again for more information on this program. Watson covers Sherlock by giving Lord Marsh a medical check. Sherlock finds a letter from Lord Marsh's safe, which schedules a meeting at Grandstone's Oak that day. Meanwhile, Watson secretly steals Lord Marsh's handkerchief. By analyzing the handkerchief, Watson finds out that Lord Marsh may be suffering from tuberculosis, and he and Sherlock are curious about the fact that Lord Marsh and his physician are hiding it. Then Sherlock wants to go to Grandstone's Oak, where Lord Marsh is meeting someone despite of his illness. Sherlock finds some dead bodies in Grandstone's Oak, and himself is also haunted by someone, but he barely escapes into a small cabin in the forest, hiding there. Then Lord Marsh shows up, with another wounded man trying to take revenge on him. It turns out that Lord Marsh is hunting living men for joy, and lures them there by means of the special education program. His tuberculosis is contracted when beheading the corpse. Knowing that the wounded man is Tom's father, Sherlock allows him to do the vengeance and justice. When Sherlock returns to his home, his daughter Caitlin is chatting with his neighbor Mr. Bouvier, who Sherlock finds through her scars on the wrist used to have the intention to suicide. Mr. Bouvier proposes to let Caitlin practice piano in her room, but Sherlock refuses. Then he attends a bowling club to compete in its final tournament, the prize of which is a Mayan calendar donated by some anonym. When Sherlock comes to the club for award ceremony the next day, he finds Detective Lestrade is there, who informs him that a club member Zacharias Greystone was killed early that morning. The club manager Charles Yellingham claims that a statue nearby was the murderer, and it descended from pedestal itself and disappeared. In a club lounge, Sherlock finds a damaged photograph of an expedition to Guatemala of 3 club members, including Yellingham and Greystone. The third man on the photograph is Bernard Marley, the builder of the statue and the director of the foundry. Sherlock repairs the photograph, revealing a fourth man, whom Yellingham claims to be Mr. Albeit, who died of a tropical disease in the expedition. After returning home, Sherlock finds Caitlin playing piano in Mr. Bouvier's home, which is against his will. By covertly opening and reading the letter sent to Mr. Bouvier, Sherlock finds that she moves next to his door in order to get close to him. When confronting Mr. Bouvier about this, she accuses him for hiding a secret from his daughter, Caitlin. At the same time, Watson finds a man named Baron in London's Hospital of Tropical Disease, who has the same appearance of Mr. Albeit on the photo. They pay him a visit, but Baron escapes the hospital on the site of the photo. Sherlock locates Baron's home through the clues he left in the hospital, and when they pay him a visit, they hear some yelling from inside. After breaking through the door, Sherlock and Watson are attacked by someone with arrows, and the attacker quickly escapes through the skylight on the roof. Then they find Baron in a sarcophagus, who admits himself as Mr. Albeit, who survived the expedition to Guatemala and is severely injured. Sherlock finds a pyramid model in his home, which Mr. Albeit claims to be built by himself. By using this pyramid model, Sherlock unlocks a mechanical globe in a club lounge, which grants him the vision about what happened in the expedition. Yellingham, Greystone, Marley, and Albeit ventured into a Mayan temple, where Albeit is injured by a trap, while the other 3 flee with a golden statue, leaving Albeit behind. Then Sherlock deduces that Albeit has donated the Mayan calendar in the first place, and orchestrated the murder. albeit admits his crime for revenge, and it was done with the help of Gulliver, a slave he brought from Brazil. Sherlock leaves their fate to the judge. After staying with Mr. Bouvier for a while, Caitlin becomes more and more alienating to Sherlock, which motivates him to investigate his neighbor's flat. He sneaks in and discovers her true identity, the daughter of William Hamilton, a criminal arrested and sentenced to death by Sherlock. Meanwhile, a visitor comes to Sherlock's home, Mr. Orson Welles, an American theater star who plans to put Sherlock's story onto stage by staying with him for a while. By quickly helping a young woman, Miss Sunderland, to see through her stepfather's plot to steal her inheritance, Sherlock demonstrates to Mr. Wilde of his talent. That night, Sherlock's home is attacked by an unknown man who throws in a ticking bomb. Thanks to young Wiggins, Sherlock finds some clues that relate the attacker with Green Dragon Tavern. Then Sherlock decides to go there and do some investigation after disguising himself as a bandit. He finds a suspicious man there, whom he soon discovers to be Jeremiah, living in Lambert Street. By disguising himself as a pastor, Sherlock gains the trust of Jeremiah's mother and is permitted to examine his room. There, Sherlock finds a letter from a gang leader, Percy Fleming, who is threatening Jeremiah with putting his sister into brothel. Then Sherlock soon asks Detective Lestrade to arrest Fleming. In his notebook, Sherlock finds that Jeremiah owes him some money, and Fleming is using this to control Jeremiah into murdering Sherlock because Sherlock has caused him to be arrested before. Meanwhile, Mr. Wilde is mistaken to be Sherlock and kidnapped by some bandits on the street. And when Sherlock follows him to a navvy and tries to save him, Wilde accidentally killed Jeremiah for self-defense. In the end, Fleming is condemned guilty and sent to prison. On their way back home, Sherlock and Watson encounter an accident on the street. Several cabs collide, which causes the collapse of a scaffold and explosion of a shop nearby. After helping with the wounded victims, Sherlock discovers the cause of the accident, suddenly halt of a cab, the passengers of which died of electricity attack. From the tattoos on their bodies, Sherlock identifies them as members of a rascal gang. They are attacked by electricity leakage from a wire on the street, and this leakage is triggered by a deliberately fabricated device in an apartment nearby. Confirming the accident as a murder, Sherlock finds 3 suspects on the scene and tracks the cab to its origin and discovers a sewer tunnel beneath. The tunnel leads him to a robbed bank safe, which reveals the true purpose of the murderer, to kill his accomplices and seize the loot for himself. Back to Scotland Yard, Sherlock interrogates 3 suspects: Reginald Butcher, an underground railway worker, Benjamin Fowler, a former gangster, and Thomas Garrett, an anarchist. Through the clues left in the sewer tunnel and his belongings, Sherlock identifies the culprit at last, Reginald Butcher, who did all this for money to cure his daughter's illness. Sherlock absorbs him and informs him to leave at once. When Sherlock gets back to Baker Street, Watson tells him that Caitlin is missing. Then he hurries to the apartment of Mr. Bouvier, who he finds has just been to Highgate Cemetery. Upon arriving there, Sherlock discovers that Mr. Bouvier had a spiritual ritual with her dead father, and clues on the ground point to the crypt. Inside this crypt, there's the tomb of Professor James Moriarty, Sherlock's lifetime rival and a true father of Caitlin. Meanwhile, Mr. Bouvier takes Caitlin to a boat, sets it on fire and tries to convince the girl to die with her as they both are Devil's daughters. Sherlock arrives just in time and saves Caitlin.